This is page. I'm working for Kernel Training, which is a training organizers. We provide usually online training sessions across the globe, and we have a very specially skilled people who works real time in this training and the technologies. So today I'll be covering the session on Solr search. As you all know, search is used for day-to-day life in our technology life. So we must be used Google search for many purposes. So let us see what happens beyond us when we do a Google search. So usually Google index the data. See, there are thousands and thousands of websites. So what Google does is Google index the data and keep it in their database. So later when a user opens the google.com and do a search there, so what backend what happens is it goes to the saved data and retrieve the results for us. That's what happening in search. So just let me go to our company details first. So you can go to collect more details from kerneltrainings.com, wherein we have a all courses section. You can find out which are all the courses we offer and all those stuff. So if you are interested in any of the other sessions, probably you can register for those also. Okay, now let me come back to the search. So as I told, that's how Google works. It indexes the data, crawls the data, and then gets back the result. So next is like which are all the products available for search. Everyone must be aware of Google search, but other than Google, there are many products in the market which is used for search. Some of them are like Google search support, which is other than the actual Google search. Google search is mainly they use for the company. We can purchase Google search from them and we can implement it in our own way. The second one is Solr, and another one is Solr is a complete product. So we have in the backend of Solr we have a Lucene search, which is also a search product, and other than that we have Adobe Search and Promote, which other than search, this Adobe product supports the promotion of the items also. So these are all different kinds of products. Now let us come back to Solr. So I told like Solr is supported by Lucene. So what is the difference between Solr and Lucene? Okay, so Lucene is something like it is a core part of the search. So for example, you are a programmer. So you just need the output of the search result and you are going to process in your own way. So we can probably use the Lucene search. So when we have to use Solr, say we have some admin people in company wherein they want to do some manual search and find out what is the data trend. So those kind of situations we need to use Solr. So Solr is having its own API on top of the Lucene. So based on that, with the help of Solr API, we can search in the Lucene. So Solr has got a user interface which is not given with Lucene. Lucene is a completely configurable item, but Solr is something which we can install. Now that's about different search products. So let us concentrate more on the Solr. Okay, I talked about Solr. So let me show you how you can download, install this, and run the Solr. So when we search download Solr, we will get the first link wherein we will have the latest version of Solr. So we can go to any of this section and download that one. And in my local machine, I have downloaded already one of the version, which you can see here 4.10. So let me start the Solr server now. So what I have done here is I went to the Solr install directory examples folder and executed a command java-jar start.jar. So what it does is here you can see a start.jar file. This is jar file, and jar is something which is executable. I like a .exe file in the usual case. So I just ran this jar file, and we can see that now you can see the Solr is up and running here. So let me open the browser. You can see that to open the Solr, we have to enter localhost:8983/Solr. Okay. Now you are in the user interface of Solr. Here you can see different in the left hand side you can see different options to work with the API. So here dashboard, this gives the overall view of what is happening inside the Solr server. The start tells when it is started and which is the version, what type of Lucene. As I told, Lucene is the backend of the Solr. So like which version of Lucene is tied up with this Solr and what is the runtime and processes, all those stuff you can see. Now logging is used to see the log levels, like what request came into the Solr and what response it has given, all those stuff you can see. And core admin is something like, see, we have, for example, different sites. For example, I am in my company, I need to index and search some data for a particular website. So say we have a English site, USEN, I'll be indexing. For that, I need a language. I need a core. Because core is something like we can create multiple cores and cluster the data. So if I say as an example, US site, I'll be indexing one single core, and if I have some Japanese site, I'll be indexing the second core. So Chinese site in the third core, something like that. That is one example of usage of core. So what does core do? Core enhances the performance. For example, if I index all the data for US, Japanese, Chinese in the same core, the searching will be slower. So instead of that, I'll create different cores and index data. And when the search comes from the US side, I just redirect the search to the US core, so that only the corresponding result will be coming up. So that search will be quicker. That's the advantage. So next is the Java properties. It will tell what all the backend process runs, all the graphics and all the stuff, path related stuff and all it will be mentioned. So these are all, as a user, usually these things will not be much bothered. These are all taken care by the Solr admins, which is maybe the infrastructure guys. So thread dump is also similar, like what is happening, which are all the threads running the event, because Solr is mainly a Java process, so which are all the threads running and what concurrency is happening and all those stuff will be provided through this information. Now you have seen the basic Solr structure. So when we download it, we have a single core provided by the Solr team. So you can see, now I'm going to select a single core. We have something like collection 1. So I just selected collection 1. Collection 1 is a group of data here. So in the, this is default provided by Solr, and here you can see much more options like overview, analysis and all. So in the overview, what it says is for the collection 1 core, what is happening, how many documents are indexed, what are the heap memory size, and whether this is optimized, whether this is properly aligned, all the steps this section will be provided. And analysis is something like we can analyze. For example, by indexing the data, we have multiple options to index the parameters. For example, I have a web page to be indexed. So what I will do is, first of all, before indexing, I will categorize the title and body of that page and description of that page, all those steps, and I will create different section to index the data, and based on that I will be doing a search. And the data import is something like when we import from different databases to Solr. I have already some data indexed in some database, so if I need to index that to the Solr search to make it available for the search, I can do this through data import. And document is a section wherein I can, for the test purpose or something like that, I can index the data and check how it works. And file section tells which are all the files in the backend of the Solr, what process it is doing, all the stuff will be given here. And ping is something like we can use to check whether Solr is up and how long it is taking to ping the Solr server. Plugin and stats will tell which are all the plugins used for the running core, and query section is used to provide that. We have indexed some sample data, so to get back the result, we will be using the query section. And replication is something like, as I told, core is one concept in Solr. Similarly, we can have multiple clusters in Solr. So when we need to replicate data from one cluster to another, for that purpose we will be using this section. And schema browser is something like we have mapping between the data which we are indexing and the Solr. So for that purpose we need a mapping, right? So that mapping is done through the schema browser. We have different elements through which we can map the data. I will explain all these things in detail in the coming classes. Now let me go to the installed directory. So here this is the directory structure. It will have been counted this docs, example license, and the other files are related to the server. So when we go to the examples, you can see different folders, and here we have a Solr directory. So this is one of the main directory which is used to index the data. And you can see multi-core. So as I told, we have collection 1. This is a single core. So as of now, single core data is coming into the Solr directory. When we have multiple items here, more than collection 1, when we have multiple items, those data we can configure it to come here. Here the data can be something like core 0, core 1, something like that. Now let me go to Solr. So let me introduce some of the files which are relevant to the Solr server. So first one is the solr.xml. If you open and see, you can see configurations and see Solr can be ran in different modes. One is through our own standalone server which is provided Solr, that is the Jetty server. So you can see Jetty port is configured to 8983. And other option to run Solr is we can run it in JBoss, that is some usual real-time server installation. People prefer that kind of place so that they'll have more control on such. The other file is, for example, now we have collection 1 core. So let us see which are all the important files related to core, specific core. See, it has got conf folder and data folder. So whatever data we are indexing into a Solr server, that comes and sits in this data folder as index. Okay, now the conf folder. This tells all the configuration related to the collection 1. So here if you see, important files are, one is Solr config. Okay. Yeah, here this file is used to send a response to different environments. For example, I am interested in JSON output. If that is the case, I can configure a JSON response writer and get back that result. So this file is used to configure the output structures and all. And another one is Schema File. This is the backbone of a core. So in Schema File, what we define is the mapping between the actual element and how the server is holding that value. For example, I defined an ID here. So at page when I am going to index, if the page is having an ID, so that ID will be coming and sitting with name ID in Solr server. This is the way. So type is string. That ID type is string. We have different options like text, float, and all those stuff. And we will tell whether it is to be indexed, it is to be stored, whether it is a required element, or is it a multi-value. Usually IDs we know it will not be a multi-value, but there are some cases. For example, an item can have multiple SKU IDs, so that can be, say, you can see here. This SKU IDs can be when it's multi-value, it can be true. That kind of purpose, for the mapping purpose, this schema file is used, and this is one of the main files which we will be modifying when we work with the Solr. Okay, so that is about the collection and directory structure of the Solr. So now let me go back to. So we will be using for the this demo session. We will be using documents and query sections. See, I have something like ID and change me. Title is equal to change.me. Document type is of JSON. So if you see, this is a JSON format and connect it within 1007 milliseconds, and the overwrite is equal to true I true. So boost is equal to 1. Boost is something like whether we are giving importance to this item or not. So when we tell submit document, this item is getting, you can see the response is success. So it will be telling something like, okay, this guy has done. It is indexed. Now let us go to the query section. Okay, I'll give you about the query browser. So query browser is used by admins to find out whether the data has got indexed or not. So basic understanding to check whether the data is indexed is the overview section of the collection. So here it will tell when we add a new document, the number of documents will get indexed, and for the last modified section, it will get updated as few minutes ago. It will say when there is a new document updated, it will tell few minutes ago. No, sorry, not ID. I will search something like name is equal to tell by screen. And say we have more than, you can see now one document is having this del by screen. Say we have more than one document with a del by screen. So we will get back all those results. For example, we have 2, so we will get number of results equal to 2 and 2 results will be displayed here. From that, if you go ahead and add a filtered query here telling ID name is equal to this and ID is equal to filtered query ID is equal to this. So what it will do is first it will fetch all the names with this value del by screen. Then later on that it will apply filtered query with ID is equal to this. Also only this result will be displayed. For that kind of purpose filtered query is used. So sort is used as the name says, it is used to tell whether the item should be displayed in ascending, descending, or inserted time based on relevance, all those stuff we can do. So start rows is something like from which element to which element. As of now 0 to 10. So if 10 elements are there, it will show you 0 to 10 elements. When it say our response is having 20 elements, and if I mention 10 to 20, so what it will do is it will give the second page of circle, which is 11 to 20th. Now FL is something like when we need to add multiple parameters with the query. So that multiple parameters in the sense like we need some more like this results. So some special features are provided with Solr. In such cases, we will be using FL. So DF is something like default item. For example, I told just in the queue field I am mentioning del white screen. So what it will do is wherever it is not only name, everywhere del white screen is there. For example, in features it will be del white screen. All those results will be coming up. When I mention DF is equal to name, it will give only this results. So row query parameter is something like different query key value pair we can mention, so that all those matching items will be coming up in the result. So now WT is equal to JSON, you can see. So what does this do? WT, we can see when we expand this, we have JSON, XML, Python, Ruby, PHP, and CSV. Let's just go by one term. So as of now, if you see, it was JSON enabled. So you can see this output is in JSON format. Now I'm going to start with XML format. I'll execute the query again. You can see now the output is in XML format. Python. This is in Python format. Ruby format. PHP. Slight changes. CSV. So CSV, when we told, it gave us the comma separated values. As you can see here. So yeah, basically these are all the 6 outputs through which Solr is giving a response. So another thing I would like to add is, now we have XML here. So when we have XML output, what it does is, let us go back to that result. It gives all the data which is indexed. The response, let us see, it is the ID, manufacturer, and all, which is every data which is related to the ID. So if I need to add, I'm not interested in entire data from this corresponding field. So how I can restrict is, I can create a XSLT parsers. I think which I will share. XSLT, we have, as of now, we told XSLT response writer. So in the response, since this is XML, I'll use an XSLT parser and pass this result to our format I want. That is one advantage here. There are multiple more advanced options here, which I will be discussing in further class. So let us just go to some specific queries now. See, I searched with the ID. So as I told, ID is unique. So you can see only number count is only 1, and that entire data is alternative. Now what I do is, I will search with del. Okay. So when I search with del, it says like the response is having. See, in this case, you can see like name is having del and manufacturer name is del, even the ID is del. So this response is having the del, which is sells now. So I am specific about something like, let us go back. So I'm using default field as name. As you see here, we have a name. So let us analyze the result. Yeah, see, we have 2 results now. First one is name field contains views on it. Name field contains views on it. So we are getting the proper reference. Okay, for the time, this is about the query browser. Now let me show you how this are all data which is already indexed. Now let me go and add a new data. I'll go to the document. What I'll do is I'll change it to Kernel. Title is you can see the responses success. So I'll go to overview. You can see the number of documents got increased by 1. Let me go to Tori. I'll do a query. It says number of documents is 6. You can see the item which is newly indexed. I'm going to do a search again on that. Okay, we got back that result, as you see. Now let me move to the document section. So as I explained, this is used to index the data. So this is just used by admins to just test the setup, whether we are doing the data indexing in proper way, things works fine, all those stuff. But in actual case, we will not be doing this. So actual case, what we do is we have a setup to index the data. So it may be any of the programming language we use. For example, we use Java or .NET, and we invoke the Solr URL and tell, okay, index this corresponding data, so that data gets indexed. So this is used to test purpose. Now let me go to URL of the search result. So in top you can see whatever the data query which we have made, we have a URL getting formed here. So localhost 8983 Solr collection 1, select q is equal to %3a. %3a is something like star colon star. When we do the URL encoding, right, that's what it happens. WD is equal to JSON. We are using the JSON response. Intent is equal to true. So this query gets automatically formed here in this query browser. So let us open it in another tab. So now you can see here the same response which we are getting. Now we are getting as a direct HTTP response output. Let us go back and change some parameters here. I'm telling, okay, I need the XML output instead of JSON. So now the response is changed to XML. I'll tell instead of Q is equal to this one, I'll tell 300. You can see the number found is same. So whatever we are doing in the query browser, we are able to do this here. So the response will be same. And then we need to add some more items in the sense like we need to sort something. Sort is equal, we need to ask the parameters like sort is equal to ascending or descending. And it's as the, let me just generate that here. Okay, maybe the response we have is single item. As a reason, it is still we can't determine sort order. Now the another thing is like I made it just reproducible JSON. So the response is JSON, but it is not properly intended. That was the reason we just passed indivisibility to. So the output gets aligned well. So through this section, I have explained how Solr is getting installed, then how the data is getting added, then reading the Solr XML response, then how to change the parameters in the UI, and how to use the browser interface and all the stuff as of now I have explained. Let us just see which are the other features which is provided by Solr server. So the response, as I told, we can pass sorting so that when we have multiple items in the response, it will start sorting the data. As of now, when I showed it is just one item, so it is not giving the result. So when we have multiple results, we can get more results. So query parsers are something like we can use different types of parsers to index the, query the data, like HTTP response we can use, or if we are using XSLT parsers to get the XML format to some other format, or required only if I'm interested in only required fields, then that kind of time we can use the parsers. More queries are something like we can execute multiple queries together in the URL, like as I told FL parameter, right? So similar way, we can keep on add multiple fields so that response can be modified as per our and adding request parameters. Same similar like that. So we can append multiple parameters with the dismax, vdismax options and get that results. So adding fields to default search. So default search I mentioned like when I'm searching in the title field, I can mention df is equal to title and get back the result. So once that the result is there, I can use filtering queries to further get back the, further drill down the results. And fascinating is something can use a nice feature. Say we go to any site, for example, Flipkart. I have searched some new mobile phone. So after searching, we can see in the left-hand side different filtering options like price-wise or the company-wise. Different options are. Those are called facets. So how facet helps us to improve the displays? Like facets will tell, okay, for example, when I am invested in Samsung mobiles, I'll just go and select facet is equal to Samsung. So what happens is in the backend, it will remove all the other results from other phone companies. So facet means again filtering out the results as per our requirement. Result grouping is something like we can group the results based on some specific criteria. So that are the main options which we have explained. So throughout this training, what are the things will be covered? This is one of the basic things I have explained here. So further through this demo, we'll be adding our own content. It may be through some whichever language which you are interested. For example, we have Java to index the data. So probably we will use some of the sample Java code to index the data into the Solr server and deleting the data. See, we have now indexed the data. We have options to delete the data from the Solr. See, sometimes we add a content, we don't want after some time that data. Maybe that data is not relevant now. So we need to delete it. In that case, we will be using some, we can pass some parameters to the URL or we can execute some commands in the backend so that data gets deleted from the Solr server. So we will be building some such sample such application during this training session and adding that some data to that session, this one, bookstore, and exploring how the data can be analyzed. And dedupe means that we'll avoid all the duplicate data from that. So as part of this training, we will be covering more in depth of this session, which will be really real-time oriented, not theoretical oriented. And we need to analyze the data before adding to that. For example, I have and body of that page and what that page is about. That is called description. So we will categorize the data and we will analyze and understand how this can be manipulated on our server, so that we can properly index the data and get back the result in an ordered manner. That's how the analyzing will help us. And we can process the output in different ways. For example, we can avoid the duplicate results in the response. Or for example, we index the data with all the HTML tags. We just the content. I am not interested in the HTML content. Those time I can just get back the trimmed data which is not having any HTML content. So that's what analyzing will help us. So in relevance, we'll be talking about how the items can be retrieved with some relevance. For example, relevance in the sense some user will be interested in some recent items according to the date. So we can use different types of search to get back the result as per our requirement. We can form different queries for that, like phrase queries, function queries, first year search. Sounds like, for example, sounds like something like I search for book. So when I tell okay, sounds like book, it will search all the terms in the index data with having a pronunciation something like book. That's how it works. So there are some extended functions like more like this, which I told. For example, we are searching something like this, something like del. So similar to del, what it does is more like that del, which are all the nearby matches, it will get that. Geospatial is something like I search something like New Delhi. So it will tell something related to the geolocation. We can mention okay, this many kilometers we need the data. So that kind of sorting can be done to geospatial. Spell checking is there. We have suggestions. If something is not matching, we can just suggest that okay, your search did not match anything, so please try something else. That kind of suggestions we can provide. We can highlight the result. Pseudo fields are something like we need to find some similar items. So that kind of that we'll be using pseudo fields and pseudo joins. And multi-language, as I explained in the beginning, we have say we are creating multi-cores, and different cores. We have US side for one core, and Japanese side for another core, Chinese side for another core. So different languages we're using. So we need to have some specific configuration for all those stuff, which will be helping us to get back the result in the proper way. And in multi-core setup, we'll tell how to classify the data, how we can properly order the data in such a way that duplicates are avoided. For example, in US side we have page, in Japanese side also similar page is there. So when we do a complete search in all the cores, we have option to search entire cores. In such cases,